Well, hello, all you Excel aficionados out there. Here we are, Chapter 10. 2 chapters left, Chapter 10 and Chapter 11. In this chapter, we're going to be using Virtual Lab. Why? Well, there's just some things that cannot be done on your Mac. And I know you guys love your Macs, but not for Excel. I'm going to use it on a PC, so if you don't have 2019 or 2021 installed on your computer, finding that some of the functionality doesn't work, log into Virtual Lab, just like I'm doing, and complete your work. Easy to do. With that said, we'll jump into the lecture, but one more thing, we're getting ready to sign up for the MOS exam, so the Microsoft Office Specialist. Some of the things that we'll be doing in this chapter and in the next chapter are on the MOS exam, but there are no macros. So what we did in chapter 12, you're not going to do a macro, you're not going to do any VBA, so let that eliminate some of your stress. You'll also find down at the bottom of the Moodle page, you'll find study guides, things to help with the MOS exam. You guys have this. You know the material. You'll be able to get through it. Not a problem. Okay, with that said, let's jump into the lecture, and I will see you in there. Okay, cheers. Okay, the big question is, where do I find this virtual lab that David keeps talking about? We're going to come down to the bottom corner down here where our little Windows icon is. I'm going to just start typing an R for remote, and I'm going to click on remote desktop connection. Now I've set it up two different ones. I've had remote desktop connection and virtual lab. I tend to default to the virtual lab because it has the programs in there that I like to use. The first time you set yours up, you'll have to type in SOU / your username, just like I have here. Let's see, does it show options? Yeah, so username, and then you'll enter your password. I'm going to connect. Now notice when I connect here, I'm going to enter my password and connecting to the virtual lab. Need to accept the virtual lab. Now this lab looks exactly like the desktops in the computer lab. You're going to get the same picture, same functionality. Give it a minute to finish logging in. One of the things that will happen is you're going to get a pop-up window to log into Box Drive. If you haven't been using Box Drive, you really should, because that'll allow you a virtual thumb drive, but on the SOU server to keep all your files. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my Box Drive. I'm going to say start without my data, confirm, continue. Now I need to log in with my SOU email. Next, it's going to ask me to log into the SOU. And I will put my password in once again. Now, if you've never logged into remote desktop, it's going to ask you for a two-step verification. I'll say, give me push notification. Now, you can save or not save your password. It will never save on Virtual Lab, so no worries. Open up my Box Drive. This is the virtual drive that you can save all your files to. This is all in Edge. I'm going to go ahead and close Edge. See, I have a new desktop, not the one I had before, and I have all my Box Drive files. You need to click on the one with your name. So click on the one with your name, and inside of here, you're going to find where your files are. You won't have any folders if this is the first time, so you'll have to create folders, but this is where you'll find them. If you save any of your files on the desktop or in downloads, tomorrow when you log back in, they're gone. Okay, so that's kind of important to know. I'm going to pause here for a second, go ahead and log into my Moodle Drive. Now I'm inside SOU, click on Moodle, open up this area here. I'm in fall right now, and let's pick this one. Make my screen a little bigger. It's kind of big for what you're going to see here, but I'm going to scroll down to our week here, grab my assignment for the chapter 10. Here again, I say that you need to use the virtual lab to complete the assignment. My lecture assignment here, my data files. I'll go ahead and open up my data files, take a look at what's inside. I'm going to extract, and I'm going to extract to my Box Drive, not to my downloads, because remember, I'm inside Virtual Lab. So I'll extract all, browse, come over here to my Box Drive, click on the one with my name, and find my BA 386 folder. We are in chapter 10. Select the folder, extract all. It looks like an access file with 2023 contacts. I have a data 1. It's green. That's an Excel file. And if I look over here, it's a tab delimited file. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit. Comma separated values. So they call it a tab delimited or a CSV file. CSV is common separated values. I also have another access database file and then a text file. And if I looked inside the text file, let's see if I can go to view, preview pane. I just have some information. Looks like some customer information that I'm going to add probably to a table. All right, so with my files there, now I can start the assignment. I'm going to go ahead and close out or minimize this area so that we have our real estate. And I'm going to start with a brand new Excel file. Go down to my Windows tab. I'll just type in an E for Excel, opens up an Excel sheet, and I'll start from a blank workbook. Enable the content. Zoom in a little bit. Right now I have one sheet tab at the bottom. I can see it says sheet 1. I like it. It says book 1. I'm going to change that to a save as. Now I've got to browse to where I want to save it. It's all about file management. Right now it'll be in my documents folder. That's not where I want it to go. I want it to go in my box drive. So the one with my name, 386, chapter 10. And then I'm going to name it Ch10_Parker. So yours will be your last name. Why do I not see those other files? Because I'm looking at an Excel workbook. And remember, I just showed you the files. There were no workbooks in there. There was a tab delimited file, a Word document, and a couple access. But because my file extension here is on a workbook, that's the only thing I'm going to see. So I'll go ahead and save that. Now I can start the assignment. I'm going to run up here to the data tab, click on data. Now I need to go find the file, and I'm going to grab the first one. It says text from CSV. Now I'm going to follow the breadcrumb trails, user, Parker D, box with my name, 386, chapter 10. I'm in the right area. Perfect, because that's where I save my file. And I'm going to grab that first one. That is the tab delimited. I'm going to import it. Now with this new version of Excel, it's going to give me this area here to load. And I can look at it and say, okay, is everything here that I want? Looks like it is. I see the columns. This looks good. I'll go ahead and load it. Down at the bottom, I now have where it says chapter 10 data 1. I'm going to change that. So double click, type customers, and then enter. Let's go grab another file. So again, on my data tab, this one I'm going to say get data, and I'm going to point to the little down arrow, and I want to get one of those access database files. So I'm going to say from a database and from Microsoft Access Database. This will be the number 2 right here. So I'll click on that one, import. This one will be a little bit different when it comes in, and that is I have the file here and it says contracts. That's the table that is in that access file. And so I want contracts. Looks like it looks pretty good, and I'll say load. Now, I'm going to point something out here in a moment that is on the Moss exam that I've seen that would be helpful. Some of you may or may not get that. We'll see. I'll do that here in a minute. Now, my sheet automatic named it contracts. If yours didn't, rename your sheet contracts. Click inside the table. Doesn't matter where. Just click anywhere. Just that makes that table active and allows us to have this query tab. Now remember, if it's not in the table, I don't have the query tab. So just click in the table, and then we're going to click on the query tab. Over here in the first one, we're going to say edit. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit our date. Right now, our date has date and time. I don't want it to have date and time. I only want it to say date. So I'll click on my date header. Over here, date type, click on the down arrow, and I'm going to say date instead of date and time. Transforms my data to just date. Let's do the same thing over here to our currency. So let's see, which one do we want? Contract totals, because that's in dollar amount. So I'll say contract totals, change this to currency. Notice it has a dollar sign up here, meaning that we've transformed it into a currency format. We'll go ahead and load that one in. So we'll say close and load. And now we see it's changed our sheet a little bit. Let's go back to the data tab and let's grab another text file. So from text or CSV, this one's going to be that data 3 file. That's that Word document we had. Bring that one in. We'll say import. Now this one we're going to change a little bit. We have some delimiters in here. Right now it says comma. So wherever there was a comma, it puts a column. And we want to change our delimiter to a tab. So we're going to go comma and tab. So whenever they had a tab when they were writing, that will now become a new column. So we have sales ID, name, address, city, and state. Now this one, let's transform the data because we're not quite ready to bring this in because I want to change maybe first and last name, city and state. I want to separate this out. Maybe I have a column for zip code. So let's transform the data. This would also, maybe you could click on transform data if you have a table that says use the first row as headers. Now that's a Moss question right here. Use first row as headers. So you bring it in, transform, click that, close and load, boom, you're on to the next question. All right, for this one, we're gonna click on the name column and we wanna split our name up. So we're gonna say split column by delimiter, and we're going to use the leftmost delimiter. So here, leftmost, and click OK. We now have column for first names and a column for last names. Let's go ahead and double click on that name 1 and type first, and on the name 2 and give it last. Let's do this similar to city and state. So I'll click on city and state, split column by delimiter. Now, if I look at my information here, my data, there's a city, comma, state and zip code. So I'll say, let's do by comma, click OK. Now I have the city here and I have the state here. Let's click on the last column, which is city, state 2. We're going to split that column by delimiter. Now we have city and state 2 over here. And if you look, it looks like there's an extra space. So this one's right against the column header. This one, there's a little space. So if I bring this in, it's going to give me an empty column. So if you have an empty column, you could come over here and delete the column, or we can transform the data. And that's what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to say transform over here in the text column. I'll say format, and I'm going to trim this leading space out. And if you noticed, it moved over just a little bit. Cool. Now let's split the column by delimiter. There's only a space in here, so I'm going to use the space, click OK. And now I have two different columns. But notice that the zip code looks kind of weird. We should have the same number of decimals for each. And it changed what it is. It changed the type, got rid of the zeros. I'm going to bring them back. So over here with the applied steps, I'm going to delete that last step where it changed the type. Now I have my leading zeros back. Let's go ahead and rename the first one here, city, state for here, and the last one, zip code. And I'm going to do this one with an underscore between the words. So ZIP underscore code, and click OK. Up here on the home tab, now we're on the transform tab, so we have to go to the home tab, and we're going to say load and close. Down here in our sheet tab, it says chapter 10 data 3. I'm going to change that to sales team. So it's going to be sales underscore team, and enter. Now we have one more sheet to bring in. So I'm going to go back to data from a database. So I'll get data from a database, Microsoft Access, and it's that 2023 contracts. Import. Okay, so here's the table I just brought in, the 2023 contracts. Just a couple, but what I want to do is I want to add it to this existing contracts. Okay, so I'm going to click on the contracts, and what I want to do is I want to combine the two sheets. So I'll come over here in the combine group, click on append queries, make sure it says two tables. Now I need to select the table I want to bring in. So I'm going to bring in the 2023 contracts, click OK. Now notice down below, I brought in that new set of data, but it's not formatted the way the other is formatted. So we need to fix that. So I'm going to come up here to date, just right on the little side of date. I can click on this one and I can select date. And now that formats that column. It's all the same. Go ahead and click load and close. Let's go over to the contracts sheet tab on the bottom. Up here on my data tab, we want to refresh the data. Data. Here in the queries, we're going to click on properties. Now this is not very intuitive, but right here's the queries property box. So I'm going to click on the queries property box, and I'm going to say refresh data when opening file. So I'm going to select the box and click OK. And then we're going to say click OK to get out of this one. Now let's refresh our data. Hit refresh, and we just refreshed our data. Go ahead and save your workbook. I'll see you on the next video.